Well, hello, hi. It is me. It is I, Small Town Didi, your Khadi and Easy over internet and Akastrat. I am back. It's January. I've put on weight, so green tea, but really laxative tea in hand. I'm not promoting anything. I just like to level with you guys as a fat girl that I participate in a lot of toxic diet culture. If we're gonna talk, we may as well talk, right? I put on so much weight. You guys, I was so hot just in September. How am I Humpty Dumpty right now? I don't have a waist. My waist literally bid me farewell in the middle of the night. I can only assume because, like, I don't recall the conversation where the waist is like, hello, I'm leaving. Because my dip is gone. Yo, I'm one of those fat girls who always is a dip, like, vibes. It's gone. But we're getting it back. I'm very low today. I went for a walk. I'm trying to get back into... I'm having a low day. I was supposed to be back on my walks by Monday, but my walking partner and I weren't able to coordinate our stuff. So we were only able to start going back today. But my mental needed the walk. The walks helped me a great deal. With the fresh air and all of that fucking rubbish, but like also feeling like I did something today. As a stay-at-home child, because I don't get up and go to a job, I can feel like I'm wasting away. And sometimes when I get up and I go for the walks, it does something for me. I know I'm supposed to talk to you guys about the corporate hands, but that conversation keeps evolving and doing stuff in my head. And this one is weighing heavier on me. And that's something that's like very personal to me. And that's just like the reality of existing as a creative person, and that's broad, right? That's such a broad thing to be. You can do with that what you want. I thought I would come back here and play with some flowers because it's a new skill I'm working on. I've been working on it since last year because I do faux flower arrangements for a number of reasons why it's faux flowers and not fresh flowers, but that's not why you guys are here. So I'm not going to bore you with those kinds of details. But I was like, I'm feeling very low. The walk gave me this boost of like, see, you're not just a useless frump. Look at you. You got up and you did something, and that's not to be ableist. Okay, I'm sorry if it's coming across that way. That's not my intention at all. But then I was like, okay, let me go back there and do something else so I can look at something pretty. So I can make something with my hands and feel like, oh, you're not such a loser. Like, I don't know how to explain it, you guys. But it's what happens when you find yourself being a person who did not choose the traditional path. And that in itself was such a loaded thing for me to say. I keep putting it on myself. Like, I had a choice. I mean, I did. Everything is a choice, I suppose. But for a person who's always done things with my hands and another person, sometimes your creativity isn't always that you're working with your hands, right? It can come out in all types of ways, but other ways are more celebrated than others, and in other ways we're looked at as very silly. Like, you really think you can sustain a living doing that, you know? Because capitalism doesn't leave room. Like, we don't assign certain things value. And no, arranging flowers and open heart surgery will not be valued the same. I understand that. Really, I do. But we're not all gonna be surgeons, are we? Do you see what I'm saying? So then how am I less deserving of a good quality of life and having what I'm gifted with be the thing that allows me to sustain myself in this construct that is capitalism? Like, it's a very frustrating thing, and it's difficult to explain to somebody, you know. I think I've explained to you guys who've been here for a while that I have really great parents, really supportive parents. I've always been allowed to explore, and my whatever it is I wanted to do has always been supported. I've never had the kind of parents that are like, oh no, you must do this thing. Oh, but you're so good at economics. Why can't you go study? But we want a doctor. Like, I've never had parents who want me to be the thing that they couldn't be, or they think that they feel is safe or will get me respect in society or will make me high earning. They just were like, my kid's like this, I'm gonna support them in the thing that they like. And they try to always show up that way. And sometimes I feel like I've disappointed them so much because they did their part. Please, why is there a fucking fly in here? Now, there was no fly, guys. Oh, I'm so mad. I feel like they did their part, and it's like my part was to make sure I don't suck at it, that I don't tank at it, that I don't make them regret supporting me and letting go of their so-called better nature, if you would like, and that is to steer me into something that's a bit more creative and celebrated and digestible, if you would like, especially in the communities that we come from. And I feel like I've, let them down. And it's not a good feeling, you guys. It's not a good feeling to know that, like, the kind of insecurity that I exist in, they experience on my behalf. Like, they tell me all the time that, we worry if something is to happen to us, what happens to you? What's gonna happen with you? And they've tried to gently nudge me into more secure jobs, if you would like, but I know I'm incompatible with those jobs. And what's worse is that they know I'm incompatible with a traditional career. And I'm not the type of person who looks down on people who go down that path because they are naturally inclined that way. Like, they're not, this whole idea of why would you want to work for somebody else, like that chat is so delayed to me. So I'm not even that person. And it's like, not everybody is inclined the same. I was always going to go down this path, and it showed itself like rather early on. It was such an obvious thing about me from the time I was a little girl. So it's not weird that I end up here, but it is mentally draining to try and make your creativity work within a capitalist framework. It's a difficult thing. Guys, like, what was I doing? Like, when other kids were choosing to be things that come with pensions, and so why did I think I was so special? And that stuff, that thinking also tanks that creative thing, because you now can't trust it. You can't trust your creativity because it hasn't, the results, the yield is not there. And the yield it's so unfortunate, because you can make something and beam from inside from the thing that you made, and be so proud of the thing that you've put out, and your customer be happy with what you gave to them. And all of that goes away in a split second when you realize that, but that can't afford you a decent quality of life. This thing that you're good at makes it such that you lag behind your peers in a financial sense, in an economic sense. You don't have the tangibles that signify that you are good at something. Because that's the other thing, when we see people progress in their traditional careers where we're not at the office with them, right? We assume it's because they're so good at their jobs, that's why they can afford that car. Whereas when you don't have the stuff to either show up with in person or telegraph in other ways on the socials that, hey, this thing I'm so good at it that I can make a great living off of it, and look what I can purchase. And when you can't do that, you start to question, how good are you really at this thing? Is this thing? And then guys, it's like a death. I can't explain it. It's like dying, man. Like, questioning your creativity is dying. It's dying. It's literally, you just have to know what I'm saying. It's like, you're like, oh, is my shit just like really dingy? Is that the issue? Am I fucking dingy? Do I stink? Like, because like, also you have to put like 20. But it's like, guys, I come on to hear about me right now. It's not nice to not feel inspired when your whole job requires you to feel inspired. I'm also one of those people who find it difficult when people are like, we aren't what we do. Some of us actually are. I know it's difficult to get it because what I do is a big part of my identity. Like, I don't think people identify me. Okay, I think first they say I'm like the fat one, the loud fat one, and somebody might say with the dreads. Then they say what I do, or they start with what I do. Like, so I understand for some people that, oh, we aren't what we do. But like outside of what I do, no. No, I very much identify with the thing, because the thing that I do made me happy until capitalism said this is fucking stupid. It wasn't stupid when I decided that this is what I want to do. I was respecting my talent, and I was respecting my gift, and I was responding to what I was gifted with and being grateful for it and saying I'm going to nurture this thing. But you can only pour so much into something, you know, and I'm so depleted, so fucking done, you know, and the work will eventually start to look the same because the creativity is in question. When you get your canvas, and in my instance, my canvas is a turntable or Lazy Susan, I think that's what some of you call it. That's my thing. When I get in front, what's gonna happen is that I get repetitive, right? I be safe, and that in itself will lead to the stagnation that I'm already having to deal with as a consequence of the economy. Not even like I was doing my thing. I was trying new things, staying on trend, adapting trends to my style. You know, my signature is always there. Like, you're not confused when you see my shit. You're like, that's that bitch. Like, she, you know, like she did that. Like, it's not confusing when you see, like, you're not confused, you know? But now I'm like so uninspired. It's nice to get up and get in your car and go to your job and be meh, right? And still get paid at the end of the month. I must show up to my job every day, right? And not be meh, okay? And also I might not get paid. Or like, it's like, no. I am telling you. The reward system we have in place does not work for creatives. It works for creatives in certain spaces, because that's the other thing about creativity, right? It's silly and it's not to be celebrated or taken seriously when it's shit like I'm doing flowers or whatever, right? Like I make pretty, like it's not connected to what people say is a need or essential or life-saving or, you know, whatever. Because we've decided, like, singing and dancing and entertainment, like certain things, we've decided this is creativity and only this can be that. We actually forget that even in our most, that fucking fly's sending me, you hear me? We forget that even in the most rigid careers and rigid workspaces, the only time you've seen progress in what is considered a traditional career is when you've had somebody in that space who's a creative. Even something as simple as a new way of performing a surgery, a new way of stitching. If you only have rigidity and people who can only, you know, open a book, read what's being said, take that in, regurgitate it, and never want to build on that, industries will die or stay unevolved. Like that is literally what would happen. But we don't recognize the people who come into those spaces, because if you're good at math, but you can step back and see something that other people don't see, or your approach to numbers is it doesn't click to people that that's still creativity. So we tend to feel like it's not something to reward, right? Or it's not something to encourage, especially when we see it in children, right? Because we understand that we exist in a capitalist society and this kid is not going to survive in the world if I nudge them the way that they already want to go, if I help them along that way as my parents did with me, and sometimes I wonder if they regret it. I mean, sometimes I can tell they're proud of me, but sometimes I can also tell that they've verbalized being scared. But also I can see, like, you know, when friends come around and they are progressing nicely, you know, according to the age. I was setting the tab just the other day, the day before New Year's, I don't even know, was it the 30th? Like 2 videos down or something, where I was like, I want to try to celebrate my life a little more. It's just been my birthday. This shit that's happening right now is something that happens before my birthday. This is the first time that I'm experiencing this sense of just like doom and loserness and just like, what the fuck, bitch, type shit. It's the first time it's happening after my birthday. It's like, oh my God, it's like something is like dragging you down to like the bottom of the fucking ocean. I said to my friends a couple of years ago, if I have to do this for the next 5 years, I'm gonna have to leave. Because ain't no fucking way. Anyway, I'm so sorry if I've depressed you. I don't even know what the fuck I've said to you. I'm gonna finish this. Then I'm going to try to come show you what I was trying to do, because it's not fair that I did all of this and you don't even see what the fuck it is I was doing. But then, guys, the other thing that made me want to come down here to have this chat is because of all the jokes. I think it's not nice. I think I've shared on my video about the idea of some degrees being useless and blah, 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 blah. The jokes always making fun of people who are creatively inclined, like people saying things like, oh, do you think we just wanted to go? You're literally in the same boat as the hustle culture people who say who wants to work a 9 to 5. You're no different from those people. You aren't. The truth of the matter is, a lot of you aren't inclined this way, and that's why you end up in a more structured, more rigid system, because you thrive there. There's no need for a person who can't do the shit that I do or function the way I do, very high stress, having to make a whole bunch of decisions and still make something nice with your hands, right? And still have answers for people. If you were inclined this way, you would have no choice but to find yourself here. Believe you me on that. I say to my best friend all the time, I'm like, bitch, why can't I be more like other people who thrive in environments that have been structured for them? Why couldn't I be? And she's like, you've never been. That's also the fucking problem of keeping somebody around too long. She's just like, no, you've never been. Like, you struggled with authority in school. I used to back chat and state attention. It's a whole thing. But like, it's a whole thing, right? I've never been that person. So when you guys sit up and you want to be to the kids on TikTok, somebody who clearly has like the ability to be a great actor, I understand that there's only so much room in certain industries for some people. But if you don't have it in you to be a performer or a creative of any kind and sort, you actually don't get to have an opinion on this one. I don't know what to, I mean, you can, it's just not valid because you haven't applied yourself enough. You can't do what the fuck I do, no more than I can do what you do. Those are just the facts. But that's that. Maybe I'll play around with more flowers and record something else, but I doubt it because I just want to go sit in the tub and cry like a regular person. Mwah. Bye, Yella.